going to be talking about fake news. So we do have freedom of the press in the U.S. Constitution, but there are some limitations to that. So that means that hindering fake news does not violate the First Amendment, but many people think it does. So fake news is defined as news that is intentionally and verifiably false. The people that write fake news write it to purposely mislead people. So people believe fake news for two main reasons. The first is that it spreads 6 times faster than legitimate news. And this second reason also does play a part in why it spreads faster. Fake news is targeted at people that are most likely to agree with what it's saying, especially on social media. A lot of Facebook friends, for example, have similar political views. So if one friend sees something that is fake and they don't know it and it agrees with what they think politically, they will share it, and that does lead to the 6 times faster spreading of fake news. There are ways to limit fake news. One way is mainly led by individuals themselves. They fact check anything that they find on social media before they share it, and that's something that anyone can do, really. And then there's a lot of people who want Congress to put policies in place that will restrict fake news more so than they already do. So limiting fake news is really important because a lot of Americans won't believe legitimate news because they're so worried about the fake news. But fake news is actually, it's difficult to detect because it is, there are ways, the people who create it want you to believe it. They're not making it so that, oh, these people will know it's fake and not believe it. They are making it because they want you to believe it and learn something that's not true. And then the people who believe that they shouldn't limit fake news is because they believe that because the First Amendment says that Congress shall make no law prohibiting the free exercise or abridging the freedom of speech or the press. So that abridging the freedom of the press, the First Amendment does say this, but there are clauses added on to prevent slander and things like that. So that's already a limit on fake news that a bunch of people don't realize is there. And then there are sites that do limit fake news. Like I said, there is not legislation in place that forces the companies to limit it. Wikipedia is one that a lot of people find surprising because like anyone can go on Wikipedia and change things and stuff. But Wikipedia is constantly checking their pages because Wikipedia is there for people who want an answer to a question that they have immediately. And Wikipedia, the corporation, wants to do everything they can to produce an accurate answer for those people. So they're always checking and verifying things that people have added, or when they're creating new pages, they check everything. So that's really important. The most famous site that does not limit fake news is Facebook. And Facebook has actually stated in a press conference that they will not remove fake news if it does not violate the user agreement. So their user agreement basically states, I don't actually know what it states, but Facebook exists as a platform, in their own words, as a platform for freedom of expression, and that includes the spreading of fake news. If someone wants to spread fake news, Facebook believes that they have the right to do so, and there's a lot of people who disagree. And Mark Zuckerberg is actually very, very terrified at the idea of Congress putting in legislation that will force him to put restrictions on Facebook. And Twitter as well. Not so much as Facebook, but Twitter is also very, very susceptible to fake news. There's actually 2 boys who dropped out of college to created a algorithm that can detect fake tweets. So that's really interesting. So with great freedom of the press comes great responsibility, and that's why we're excited. Thank you.
How can you really figure out which is what news is fake and what news is real?
A big part of it comes from, like I said, people checking their own things. The main way to do that is to find a different news site that says the same thing, that has the same information. And usually you have to find more than one.
Why? What's the main purpose for fake news besides just like having fun?
People want to mislead people. A big part of it is the changing of opinions. I don't know if y'all.
Tell them about Pizzagate.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna talk. I don't know if y'all heard of Pizzagate, but during the presidential campaign between Hillary and Trump, there was a lot of fake news posted that Hillary Clinton was running a sex trafficking thing out of a pizza parlor.
Which sounds completely and totally unreasonable, but
Lots of people believed it, and there were actually threats on and this pizza parlor, like Hillary Clinton had never been in. It was like a random pizza parlor, and lots of people actually came to that pizza parlor with guns and threatened the owners, and it was not a good situation. And people did that so that people wouldn't vote for
to
Hillary.
portray her in a poor light.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of it's really interesting actually, if you follow the news story, the Zuckerberg and all the Trump scandal, and they really think that there's Russian involvement in getting people, basically to get Trump elected, to get everyone slandered against.
Our intelligence agencies have said that.
Yeah, and it's really kind of intense.
The logarithm. Do you know anything about how that worked, or can you tell us a little bit more about those gentlemen?
I don't know much about how it works. I can say that the men who created it have stated that once the algorithm was written and they had, once they had written it and applied it, it was fairly easy to use and it didn't cost them anything. So the men have stated that they're very, very confused as to why Twitter doesn't employ a process of its own. Because this algorithm is something that people will have to get on their browser and apply to Twitter themselves.
So it's something that a consumer would use.
And I'm
They
pretty
just
sure
Twitter
you
would
don't
need
have to pay for it.
make it available.
I'm pretty sure you don't have to pay for it, but the boys can't understand. The boys that created it, they can't understand why Twitter isn't doing something on its own, as a part of its platform.
Well, and I can understand with Twitter and Facebook and some of those things where that information is out there immediately. Because of that, it would be difficult to screen everything because there's so much information.
That's why the algorithm can do it.
But that could really solve the problem.
And then have stated that it's very, very easy to use, and it once you apply it, it doesn't need any help.
You gotta choose.
Andy, you've already talked. You can talk to me.
What do you say about using specific ads for fake news on Facebook that was targeting specific people?
I didn't actually. Okay, so the targeting specific people, the people who post fake news, I don't know all the details behind it or how it works, but it basically, the reason, like I said, those kind of go hand in hand. The reason it spreads 6 times faster is because the people that share it generally have similar political views as their friends that they share it with, so they'll share it and it'll continue to be shared. But the people who actually create news they only make it available for people that will agree with it, unless it becomes super does that make sense? When they put it on Facebook or something, they'll put it in a place, in a setting where people who agree with it will see it. Well, people who agree with it will be more likely to see it than people who don't.
So if I've liked something from somebody else at some point, I'm more likely to get something similar to those views again. So I'm really careful. If it's a political thing, I don't respond. Unless I don't want to know my views.
Someone posting it was just ads that people I forget which group it was, but a group of people paid for a bunch of ads that was just ripping on Donald Trump and spread that around. I forgot what it was. We had done a thing on this debate.
Yeah.
Do you think there would be any problems with, say, if I tweeted something, but it was just about my friend, and we were just do you think there'd be any trouble with?
If you lied about your friend?
Slander like that?
No, not or you just were being fun, you weren't actually trying to
So and so did something?
Or you just post something, the algorithm's no, you can't post this. Do you think it'd make a lot of people frustrated? Or?
No, the algorithm really is generally geared toward news, from what I understand. And what it does is that it takes that news and searches for things that match it.
think too,